Have you ever walked into a space and you're overwhelmed by your senses, either in a positive or negative way? As a studio, we try and cultivate practices of discovery to really consider how a space feels, how a person's daily rituals and habits and their lifestyle can really come alive into the choices we make in a home. I'm Laura Melling, founder and creative director of Melling Studio, and this is my Design Unlocked. When we begin to work with clients, we often guide them through a process of visualization. We consider how they want the space to feel when we're finished, and how that material feels when they touch it, or what the room smells like. And that's how we start to build the design process together. As a studio, we're deeply curious about the connection between design and the human experience. It's about how a space feels and how a home can embody a sense of wellness for the people who live there. When we first start to work with clients, we lead them through this really intentional process of visualization, and we ask them to consider what will it feel like to touch a certain surface or a material, and what will the space smell like. And we really just try to build the process of discovery and design from there. The Stevens residence was this beautiful opportunity to connect with this young entrepreneurial couple, their desire to really build this home that embodied this very healthy, coastal, mindful lifestyle in Vancouver. When we started the project, it was this very, very dark, dated, super dysfunctional floor plan. I would say our design approach for this project there was two kind of central considerations. The first was really honing in on the floor plan, particularly on the main floor, and considering how can we open up this space and create a very connected living room, kitchen, and dining room. The second consideration was the material palette. And we really wanted to lighten things up, taking inspiration from the natural landscape. So we were very truly drawing from kind of this very natural West Coast aesthetic. And so we very intentionally pulled together kind of what we call a soft minimal palette. We like to use maybe less materials than more, and have a cohesive approach and repeat the same materials throughout the space so that it has a really grounding sense of calm. So with the floor plan reimagination and the cohesive material palette, that's how we started to really explore what the project could be. So the kitchen, it's anchored by this expansive curvilinear island, and it's a combination of white oak and white oak-tambour that wraps this really kind of linear texture. And it's really just the central piece of the home. It's the space for all of their day-to-day rituals. They have 3 kids. It's meal prep. It's maybe the kids sitting at the island doing their homework. Another part of the kitchen that is just such a standout for us was that really expansive quartz floating shelf that's along the whole linear back part of behind the range. And it just provides this moment for a little bit of display and a little personality to come out, and kind of juxtaposed against the closed cabinetry of the millwork in the kitchen. The existing windows have this beautiful stained glass. So through the window, the natural light just pours in and washes this palette and the space. And it's beautiful, but it also feels really functional for the family. We built in really great drawers for storage underneath. They have 3 young kids, so they have lots of stuff, and they want to tuck it away. So they can just, each of the kids has a drawer, and they just pop their things in. And then we put a really beautiful wool felt upholstered cushion. So you can sit in the window and, reflect or do some homework or get ready for the day, but it's right there. It's very accessible within the kitchen space. We viewed the living room as this point of connection for the family. They didn't have a TV. We kept the original wood burning fireplace and just kind of refinished the face of it with kind of a tile facade, and then a textured wall above. We considered the furniture pieces as just kind of these anchor points to allow a really comfortable and inviting space, but also allow the family and the kids to kind of move very freely through the open concept plan, because the living room was just directly open to the kitchen. From a material palette, we tried to echo what was happening in the rest of the home. So we infused the white oak in the coffee table and then brought in kind of the off-white and this really powder sky blue pop of color into the lounge chairs. It just kind of came together as this really inviting and approachable space that still felt really composed for the family. We were really able to open up the dining room when we looked at the space planning of this main level, and it's open to both the kitchen and the living room. When we started to look at the floor plan of this room, we identified an old closet zone that we transformed into this really beautiful custom bar with like a beverage fridge and floating shelves above, and then anchored the room with a solid wood dining table and had this sculptural light above it that is really, it's white, it's fiberglass, it's more like sculpture than a light, because it allows you to really kind of like see through into the rest of the space. When looking at your space, I would encourage you to just be curious and observe what are your daily rituals and practices, and how do you like to spend time and feel in your space, because I think that really informs the different solutions and how a floor plan can come together, or what the material choices are. It's better to invest in a few really good quality pieces from preferably places that you know, a local maker or designer, for example, that they can slowly build a collection over time, rather than kind of feeling like they need to just buy everything at once and maybe compromising on quality. The coffee table in the living room is a prime example of that. It's a solid wood table, and it's just this like anchor point that can really show the story of their family over time and live on for generations. Choosing 3 to 5 materials and repeating them through the space is totally fine. We love that formula, and I think that just really simplifying and repeating elements can be really successful. More than anything, I really empower you to immerse yourself in the process and just feel good about the experience. You know, design is about how it feels, not just how it looks, and everybody has the ability to kind of tap into that. So let's discover that.